America, we gotta get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. It's all bullshit. I suppose I could start every single show with those words in this age of Trump. But it's all bullshit. What's happening right now with the Epstein files, what Trump is doing right now with the Epstein files, it's all bullshit. But it's much more serious than that. I think a huge cover-up is happening right now. I think the President of the United States and the Attorney General and the number 2 at Justice and the number 3 at Justice and Kash Patel, head of the FBI, I think they are all right now part and parcel of a huge crime, a huge cover-up to make certain that the Epstein files are never, ever seen by the American people because Donald Trump is all over the Epstein files. Now, I think that's what's going on. And I think that's the dangerous piece of all of this. It's hard with Trump, right? To focus on what matters. That's always been a problem, right? In this age of Trump, right? Because, he burps, he belches, he farts, 1,000 times a day. And it's all just utter bullshit, lies, disinformation, misinformation. He's such an idiot. And he's such a clown. And he's such a bad guy that weirdly, the key to his success is to get us to focus on his idiocy, his lies, his clownish behavior every day. And we miss the crimes that are being committed. We miss the serious stuff. We miss the corruption. We miss the lawlessness. We miss the damage. We talked about last week, well over 400,000 children around the world have died because of what Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and Elon Musk did dismantling USAID. Trump doesn't want you to focus on the serious damage that's been done and is being done to this country. He'd rather you focus on the 1,000 pieces of dog shit that he throws against the wall every single day. That's what's happening right now with this whole Epstein thing. Trump comes out last night and he says, man, I'm telling every House Republican, vote to release the Epstein files. Thanks, Keith. Trump dares Congress to make him release the Epstein files. Trump posted on Truth Social last night. Yep, I want House Republicans to release the files. This after months and months and months of Donald Trump doing everything he could possibly do to wipe the whole issue of the Epstein files off of the map. Now, why did Trump come out and say that last night? Why did he finally come out and say it? Okay, yeah, House, vote to release. And for all we know, then once the House this week, I think tomorrow, votes to release the files, maybe the Senate will do the same thing. And knowing Trump, he'll come out and say, I want the Senate to vote to release the Epstein files. Release it all. Why is Trump saying this now? Again, after months of it's a hoax, nothing to see here. Move on from the Epstein files. A week after Donald Trump met with Lauren Boebert and other Republicans and beat them across the head to try to get them to flip, to not vote to pass the discharge petition, thereby opening the pathway to the vote tomorrow. I mean, just a week ago, Donald Trump was threatening Republicans. Don't vote for the discharge petition. Flip, flip, flip. He couldn't do it. So a week later, now he's saying, hey, vote to release the files. And all of the media is running with, everybody's jumping with, oh, that's, Trump, right? Trump knows that over 100 Republicans are going to vote to release the files tomorrow. And so Trump's just trying to get ahead of the parade, right? This is classic Trump behavior, right? He wants to take all the credit for something. So he's running to get ahead of the parade, to the head of the parade. And yeah, again, there's truth in that. Trump knows the House tomorrow will pass overwhelmingly, and 100 or so Republicans overwhelmingly will vote to release the Epstein files. And this is Trump's history again. He's an idiot. He's a clown. And he has to take the credit for everything. I get that. But the real issue here is more sinister. Why is Trump all of a sudden now release the files? And MAGA, it's not because he wants the files released, MAGA. And again, we go way back to before Trump was even elected last November. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and all of them were release the files, release the files. J.D. Vance said, Trump said, if I win, we will release the Epstein files. J.D. Vance said, if Trump wins, we will release the Epstein files. And then Trump won. And then Trump said, nope, not going to do it. Nothing to see here. Democratic hoax. And Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and J.D. Vance and Dan Bongino and all of Donald Trump's other cheerleaders and sycophants then all said, nothing to see here. And this is what went on then for months. Trump doing all he could do to wipe this issue off of the front pages, get rid of it. He couldn't, thanks to Thomas Massie, Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, who, along with a few other, brave Republicans and all the Democrats, demanded that the victims be heard. The over 1,000 young girls who were sexually abused and victimized and raped, they need to be heard. These powerful men need to be exposed. And Thomas Massie led the charge on what happened last week, the discharge petition being approved. And tomorrow the House will vote to release the files. And now Trump comes out last night and says, yeah, I've been there all along. Release the files. Here's the truth. The scary, no bullshit truth. The House was going to vote to release the files tomorrow anyways. So Trump just wants the credit. And then it will go to the Senate. Don't know what the Senate will do. But if it looks like the Senate will vote to release the Epstein files, you can bet your bottom dollar that Donald Trump again will say to the Senate, release the files, so that Trump can get the credit for the Senate passing to release the files. But the truth is, we're not going to see these files. The truth is, these files are not going to be released. To understand why and to understand that truth, you need to understand the bigger truth, which is Donald Trump doesn't need the House to vote to release the files. Trump could release the files at 2:30 this afternoon. Trump could order Pam Bondi at 2:30 this afternoon to release the files. See, again, At the bottom of all of this, Trump doesn't need the House to vote to release the files, or the Senate to vote to release the files. Donald Trump has always had the power all by himself from the moment he was sworn in to release the files. Remember that. Trump could have ordered Pam Bondi 5 months ago to release the files, 5 weeks ago to release the files, 5 days ago to release the files, 5 hours ago. Trump could have ordered Pam Bondi to release the files, and Trump could order Pam Bondi 5 minutes from now to release the files. But he's never done that because Trump doesn't want the files released. Trump doesn't want the files released because Trump is all over those files. There's evidence in those files, I'm certain, right? Highly, highly likely that Trump knew everything Epstein was doing. And it's also highly, highly likely that Donald Trump was one of Epstein's clients and he sexually abused and victimized young girls as well. Here's what you have to keep your eyes on. And this is what matters. Remember, Trump's an idiot, and he does everything out in the open. He's enriched himself personally more than any other president in American history. He's used his office to personally enrich himself more than any other president in American history. He does it all out in the open. He's doing the same thing here with Epstein. Trump knows the files will never be released. Trump needs to make certain the files are never released. I have no doubt that Trump has already given, I almost called her our attorney general. Pam Bondi's not the attorney general. Pam Bondi is Donald Trump's lawyer. Trump's already given Pam Bondi and her people enough time to scrub those Epstein files and shred whatever they can shred and remove any reference from Donald Trump. And if you don't think Pam Bondi, Trump's lawyer, has been doing that, man, you just ain't keeping up. So part of what's going on here is Trump's already bought enough time for his personal lawyer, Pam Bondi, to scrub those files and remove any and all reference to Donald Trump. More importantly, again, focus on what matters. Amidst all of Trump's bullshit last week, and there was a lot of it again. Remember what Trump did last week? Do you remember? Tuesday or Wednesday last week? This matters. Trump ordered his personal lawyer, Pam Bondi, to launch an investigation, open up a new Epstein files investigation, going after all the Democrats who had relations with Epstein. Trump ordered Pam Bondi last week to open up a new investigation into the Epstein files. And yeah, again, right? Trump ordered Pam Bondi to look into, he listed all the Democrats, right, who may be in the files, didn't list himself and didn't list any Republicans. Again, that's just what a horrible person Trump is. But here's the danger. Here's what's going on. Last week, Trump orders Pam Bondi to open up a new investigation, a new Epstein files investigation. Well, if for some reason the House tomorrow passes a bill, release the files, and if for some reason the Senate votes to release the Epstein files. And if for some reason that then gets to Trump's desk and Trump's got to sign it into law and give it to Pam Bondi, release the files, all Trump has to say at that point is, I can't. Not while there's an ongoing investigation. We can't jeopardize or compromise an ongoing Epstein files investigation, so we can't release any of the files now, Trump and Trump's people will say, if it ever gets to his desk. And Pam Bondi, you can rest assured, if it ever gets to this point. Again, remember, she's Trump's personal lawyer. We don't have an attorney general. I've said this a bunch, right? This is what America looks like without a Congress. This is what America looks like without an attorney general. It ain't pretty, America, and I hope you wake up to this. But I have no doubt that if it ever got past the House, got past the Senate, Pam Bondi would get up in front of the cameras and say, excuse me, can't release any of the files. We have an ongoing investigation. We have an active investigation. We're looking into Epstein this and Epstein that. That's why Trump did what he did last week. Focus on what matters. That's why this most corrupt person we've ever put in the White House, it's the only reason Trump ordered Pam Bondi to launch an investigation, an Epstein files investigation last week. So that if for some reason this thing ever got to him and his desk, he and Pam Bondi and all the rest of them could just say, can't. Love to, can't. Would love nothing more than to release the files, but can't. Can't do that. Won't do that. Can't do that. Ongoing investigation. It's corrupt. He's working with his attorney general to keep the Epstein files hidden. I mean, my God, the attorney general, again, Pam Bondi, not the attorney general, she sat in on the meetings last week when Trump was pressuring in the Situation Room, the White House, when Trump was pressuring Republicans to flip. Pam Bondi sat in on those meetings. Supposed to be our attorney general. This is all the president of the United States abusing his powers, breaking the law, being openly corrupt in keeping these Epstein files hidden. And he's protected himself. I'll bet you dollars to donuts Pam Bondi, spent all weekend, her and her team scrubbing Trump's name wherever they could. But their ultimate backup is they can't release the files. There's an ongoing investigation. And that ongoing investigation that Trump ordered last week, man, that could be ongoing for the next 3+ years. So I don't think the American people in the next 3+ years are ever going to see what's in the Epstein files. And you close with this, and I'll close with this Monday morning. Continue to ask yourself this. Why is Donald Trump scared to death? I mean, scared to death to release all the Epstein files. He is fucking scared to death. He's doing everything he can do to keep these files hidden. Just always ask yourself that. Hey, one other quick thing I wanted to get to today. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's been stepping out the last few weeks, right? Calling out Trump, She's been firm on this Epstein file stuff. She was pissed off at the way the House Republicans handled the shutdown. She's concerned about the cost of health care to her constituents. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been creating space between herself and her dear leader, Donald Trump. Been very critical of Trump, very outspoken about Trump and things Republicans are doing. Don't know why Marjorie Taylor Greene's doing this. I got my ideas, but I don't want to go there yet. Uh, Marjorie Taylor Greene was on CNN yesterday, and she came out again and tried to show the new side of the new face of Marjorie. Let's play that, Keith.
Congresswoman, you posted on X that President Trump is, with his comments, fueling a, quote, hotbed of threats against you. Obviously, any threats to your safety are completely unacceptable. But we have seen these kinds of attacks or criticism from the president at other people. It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism, and I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country, and it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions, and I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences.
Yeah.
Good on her. No matter where you stand on Marjorie Taylor Greene, if that were anybody else saying those words, we got to end the toxicity, our toxic politics. We got to put down our knives. We got to quit hating each other. We need to learn how to disagree respectfully. If it were anybody else saying all of that, you'd be amening it with me, right? Amen. Preach, sister, preach. It's what I preach, right, every single day. It's what we preach here at the Social Contract, right? Every day, try to model how, right? How to get along with people who you disagree with. Get off of this road where we hate the people we disagree with. Put those knives in our politics down, said Marjorie. Because of my unique history, I've been asked a lot in the last couple of days what I think of what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing here. And my initial take is good on her. I appreciate this. That's right. Marjorie Taylor Greene, in essence, and she's been saying this now for a few days, she's pledging to no longer be a divisive political asshole. I'll amen to that till the cows come home. As someone who was a very divisive political asshole, me, I came out 7+ years ago and said, I'm done with that road because it's not productive. It's not helpful. It's making things worse. Over 7 years ago, I came out and publicly apologized for being a divisive political asshole. And 7+ years ago, I publicly came out against Donald Trump, thereby taking a blowtorch to my career. And my reaction to Marjorie is good start. But here's the deal. Like, I've spent the past 7+ years, every single day doing all I can to prove that my conversion from divisive political asshole to still conservative, no longer an asshole, to prove that that conversion is genuine. Every single day, I've had to prove that I'm genuine in what I said. I've had to walk the walk every day. Every single day for 7 years, I've done all I can do to try to defeat Trump and Trumpism. It hadn't been easy. And I've still got people 7.5 years later doubting the sincerity of what I did 7.5 years ago. But I've had to prove it every day. Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to have to walk down the same road. Remember, we're talking about a woman who said Donald Trump won the 2020 election. We're talking about a woman who said January 6th was a great patriotic day. We're talking about a woman who just a couple months ago it has been cheering what those masked federal agents are doing on our streets, disappearing brown and black people. I love the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, I'm no longer going to practice in this stew of toxic politics. But like me, she's now got to walk the walk and she's got to prove it. And let me tell you something. She's got to answer a lot of questions. Now, big difference between Marjorie and me is I publicly came out against Trump 7+ years ago. Donald Trump is the king of political toxicity. He is Mr. Toxic. Marjorie still supports Trump. And in everything she said yesterday and in everything she said the last few weeks, as she's tried to separate herself from Trump, she's talked about how much she loves Trump, how disappointed she is in Trump because Trump's moved away from blah, 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 the MAGA agenda. So, you know what the big difference between her and I, she still supports Trump. But I wish she'd be asked, this new Marjorie Taylor Greene, I wish the media would ask her some simple questions because she's got to prove herself. Hey, Marjorie, do you still believe Donald Trump won the 2020 election? Do you still believe the stolen election lie? Marjorie, do you still believe that January 6th was a good, great, patriotic day? You've said that over and over. Do you still believe that, Marjorie? Marjorie, talk about cruel and toxic. Do you support what these masked federal agents are doing on American streets? Do you support troops on our streets in America? See, she needs to be asked these questions. What do you do? Right? What do you do with someone who says, I will no longer be a divisive political asshole? And that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene has said. And I'm glad she's said that because that's what I said 7.5 years ago. That's an important step. And I'm not going to discount that. And look, I get it. Maybe she's doing it because Trump didn't let her run for Senate. Maybe she's doing it because she wants to run for president. Maybe she is just one opportunistic politician. That all could be true, which is why I'm saying I've had to walk this road for 7.5 years. Every day I've had to prove that I'm genuine in my conversion. She's got to do the same, but I applaud the first step. But what do you do with someone who says, like Marjorie did, I'm no longer going to be a divisive political asshole, but I'm still proudly pro-Trump and proudly pro-MAGA? Like, remember, part of Marjorie's argument against Trump is Marjorie is more MAGA than Trump is. Marjorie said some horribly anti-Semitic things. Marjorie Taylor Greene in that interview yesterday was asked about Nick Fuentes, the Nazi, right? The Nazi that Tucker Carlson gave coverage to. And Marjorie Taylor Greene actually told Dana Bash, man, you should have him on CNN. So she actually stood by Nick Fuentes, an ugly, bigot, racist, anti-Semite. In that same interview, Marjorie Taylor Greene stood by him. You get my point. It's one thing to say, I'm no longer going to be a divisive political asshole. I'm glad she said that. And now she's got to prove that, like I had to have proved that. But then it's another thing when it comes to all of the ugly and cruel beliefs she's held. She needs to be asked about them. I was asked about all of my beliefs day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, right? That's now where this has got to go to see how genuine and how broad this conversion is. And if it gets to a point with Marjorie Taylor Greene where she is no longer a divisive political asshole, but she's still proudly 100% pro-Trump and 100% pro-MAGA and 100% everything else, well, then that's one thing. And I mean, I disagree with that, but I'm fine with that because I engage every day with committed MAGA folk and who are not assholes, and we engage and we have respectful disagreements. That may be where we get with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She may just be the pro-MAGA, pro-Trump person she is. She's just no longer divisive. And that's an improvement. But she needs to be asked about all of this. And she needs to walk the walk. I'll stop there, Keith. And we'll have more to talk about on that as well. Thank you for listening, everybody. By the way, my Substack, check it out, will you? A social contract with joewalsh.substack.com. Do yours truly a huge favor. If you're in the mood this Monday, check out the Substack. And if you're really in the mood this Monday, doggone it, subscribe. You subscribe, you help me keep this haggard voice out there. You subscribe, I'll start to shave every single day. How's that? I'll start to shave every single day. I'll look better every single day. Check it out. Social contract with joewalsh.substack.com. If you want to shoot me an email, do shoot me an email about anything. The social contract with joewalsh.gmail.com. Thanks, Keith. The social contract with Joe Walsh, all one word, at gmail.com. Focus on what matters this week, especially with all of this Epstein stuff. Ignore the bullshit. Let's make it a good week. Thanks for listening. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.